Hello, everyone. Welcome to this week's episode of Hollywood Matrimony Live. Thank you so much for joining us live on Facebook, YouTube, and Instagram. Check out our website, hollywoodmatrimony.com, and you can find us, obviously, on Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, and we're also on our website, Hollywood Matrimony. What do I always say? Try to say LinkedIn, Twitter, and Hive. We're not on LinkedIn. This is not a professional business.
Is it not?
No.
It could have been.
It's a crazy business. All right, welcome. We're here to talk about movies. We've got a lot of things to talk about. Why do we have so many Godzillas?
I didn't put out the new one.
Do we have it?
He's in the box. He's still in the box. I haven't opened it yet.
Oh.
Need the bigger version of this one.
Does it have the tongue?
Has the tongue and the fist it shoots.
Oh, does it shoot?
Yeah. So the original one is like this tall
Right.
that I had when I was a kid.
When you were little.
The fist shot had the same exact tongue, same exact sculpt. The tail also came off. It didn't do anything. It was just hollow. But I would put figures in it and close it. And I'd act like almost like a Trojan horse. Like they would sneak in and then be like, tail attack. And I'd open up the tail and G.I. Joe's would run out. Logistics made no sense. So anyway, but I don't have said Godzilla anymore. But then they put out this little Super 7 small one. And then I just bought one that's about this big. It's the exact same thing, but that one does shoot fist.
Okay.
He'll make his appearance.
We'll show it next time. Okay. We're going to talk about
And that's
some
not
movies.
His tongue, by the way.
Oh, it's flames?
It's fire.
Oh, fire. Okay, my bad. What do I know about
Godzilla?
Look at the Obviously, I don't know anything about Godzilla. We were going to look up what is Godzilla in Espanol.
Oh. They don't have any idea what you're talking about. Oh, excuse me.
Yeah, it's Godzilla.
I disagree.
Godzilla.
That's just called laziness. Is what
All
that
right.
is. Let's go. What we
Let's
got?
talk about some movies. All right. Don't know if you're cool if we just start here and go down the row. This one.
Sure.
Because
we didn't do a show last week.
So. Correct. So I got things in a strange order.
Fine.
I was just gonna go through it. Let's just go for it.
Whatever you're feeling, Freddy.
All right. Here we go.
All right.
We're starting with the movie. Hello.
We're starting with the movie. Hello.
They said his name in Espanol is Señor Godzilla.
Okay.
That sounds better than I don't know. I think it's just Godzilla. It's his name. You can't translate it. Like your name is Bobby. Be like, hola, me llamo Bobby.
Yeah, but if I say my name is Robert, it's not Robert.
It's Roberto.
See?
That's different because that name exists.
Bobby exists too.
Well, you could say my name is Bobby and they would call you Bobby.
Well, then, but that's what I'm saying. You can't say it's not because a name exists or doesn't exist and you don't change it.
Yeah, they would just say the same name but with an accent. Tell me about the movie Old Dads.
It sounds like y'all's language just picks and chooses what it wants to do. Yes.
No.
Yes.
We go with whatever you tell us. We try to be inclusive.
Right. But, okay, well, the name is Robert. Roberto doesn't exist. Roberto does not exist.
Fine, Robert. We would call you Roberto.
So from now on, anytime somebody says Roberto, say that name doesn't exist. My wife said.
No.
You have to call me by what my name is Robert.
Exist.
No, there's a name. Roberto exists. And Robert exists.
Right.
But
so
if you were to say
Robert,
my name in Spanish,
Roberto.
but that's two different names.
It's the same name.
It's not because I know some people named Roberto. It's not the same. You can't change my name just because you can't change my name because you decide. You
can be like, that's my American name is Robert.
They should have to be saying Robert, just like this, Bobby.
That's fine. They would.
Going by your logic, I'm going by exactly what you just said. You changed my name because you decided because y'all have a Roberto. Y'all have now changed my name to that name, but that's not my name.
Tell me about the movie Old Dads. And stop with your nonsense.
It's not nonsense. It's facts.
Okay.
This, my friends, is what they call fake news.
Tell me about the movie
Fake
Old Dads.
Telemundo.
Oh, I like Telemundo. They got good stuff.
All right, Old Dads is about three old dads.
All right, there you go. Go watch it.
The premise of the movie is about this one guy played by Bill Burr. This movie is also written and directed by Bill Burr. Bill Burr Baggins, who's basically not PC. He's from the old school, if you will, from my era and older, and where a lot of things are not saying everything with sensitivity, and not everything's about your feelings, and not everything's about trying to say exactly the right thing and not be offensive. You know, his stand-up comedy is kind of the same way. So the entire premise of the movie is not only these three guys from the old school, trying to, I guess, find their way in the way the world is now, but also navigating their own personal lives and their marriages and being dads in older generations and the way things are differently now and all that stuff. So basically, It feels like my life.
Yes, very much. I was cracking up.
This movie is
I didn't know it was going to be funny, but then it was infuriating too, because it's very much about
the bullshit of the world of how the world is now.
I wasn't going to say that.
I'll say
about how we have to be really sensitive of people's feelings, and how you have to tell your kid, like your kids, like, well, explain to me in words how you're feeling. Like, we would just get smacked.
Look, here's my thing. There's a gray area there.
Like, I care about how you're feeling.
Yes, you care about their feelings, and yes, you discuss with them of why they behave the way they do it, why they act it out. But you don't do it, in my opinion, in a way to make it sound like it's okay to act that way and feel that way, because it's not.
No.
That's why there's issues with people. That's why some people struggle, because nobody sat down with them. I'm not saying you have to beat everybody, but you sit down and be like, first of all, that is not okay to do. You don't hit somebody. You don't do this. You're being inappropriate. Don't be an asshole. Then you figure out, why were you acting like that?
Mm-hmm. Did something
and
happen?
Then if they tell you, then you deal with that next section. If they like, because I wanted to, that's not a reason. That means you're an asshole.
Yep. Don't be that way.
To go like, their feelings are justified. Yeah, but if their feelings that they're an asshole, that's not justified. And there's got to be rules and everything else. And it's the same thing of everybody needing to. There's a difference between blatantly saying something to be offensive and saying something that, whether you're joking or just being silly or whatever. Not everybody will find you funny.
Correct.
Not everybody has to like what you have to say, but nobody should have to adhere to everybody else. And I think that's the biggest issue with society. I respect everybody. I don't care what your gender is. I don't care what your faith is. I don't care what sexuality you are. You can be whatever you want to be, and that's fine. But don't expect me to be that. And don't expect me to have to suddenly change. Again, I'm not saying by calling someone names or dropping the N-word at somebody or calling somebody, some derogatory term. Like, one of the biggest issues we have now is with the pronouns.
Yes.
Right? And I'm not going to go into the whole thing of pronouns. The biggest solution, ask somebody their name. Call them by their name. Forget this, the, them, her, it, blah, blah, blah. Call somebody by their name. Problem solved.
Mm-hmm.
But everybody being assholes about it. And this movie is the perfect example of that.
I agree.
I went on an agenda, but this movie had us made very mad.
Yeah, it had us mad at the beginning just because, the whole picking up your kid late. Like, first of all, my parents sometimes forgot me. Like, I'd be there waiting for a long time, and then randomly oh, hey, your aunt told me to come pick you up, and you just went with them. You're just like, okay.
Well, you ever heard that comedian? It was funny. They were just talking about that. They were saying, or not a comedian, it was just one of those TikToks where the people are like, hey, don't mess with our generation. And she's like, our parents didn't even remember they had kids. They had a bulletin on the news that actually said, it's 10 o'clock. Do you know where your kids are?
Yeah, I remember
to remind our parents that they had children.
Because we'd be outside all day long. Like, we would get kicked out because my mom's like, I'm cleaning the house. I don't want you in here making a mess.
Yeah, I don't want to see you until it's dark.
I will call you when it's time for dinner. So we were gone all day long.
And so these guys, now, given there is some stuff they say in the movie that is
a little bit over the top.
Inappropriate. But it's also showing, what I like the way the movie handled it, is there is a line where the guy had to learn to deal with his anger, because there's sometimes he went a little too far.
Went a little off the rails.
But it's not trying to preach to you. It's showing both sides. It's showing the middle ground that we should all be able to walk, while giving us some humor, but also letting the side that acts that way with the new generation, also how they get screwed over. And it's one of those movies that I thought it was very funny. I know it didn't get great reviews. I thought it was funny.
I thought it was fun.
But if you're easily offended, you might get offended by stuff that's said. But it's like, to me, it's like, it wasn't trying to be offensive. It was just like a bunch of guys talking and hanging out and going through their life problems if you were a child of the 80s.
Yeah, pretty much. And then I think realizing how now kids are just like, I don't even know how they're going to survive. It's a lot.
They're not.
Our kids are okay. It's their kids that I'm worried about.
Right. like everybody just gets so PC butthurt about everything. Like I know it's a cliche term to say, but it's like it was so much better when if people were bothered by something, they just went somewhere else.
Yeah.
They watched something else. They changed the channel. They turned it off because comedy is subjective.
Very much. People are so offended.
Opinions are subjective. I know religious gets a rap of attacking other religions because they do, but your belief system is not my belief system, is not their belief system, and whatever you doesn't affect my life. Whatever you believe, whatever they do with transgender people or gay people does not affect the lives of any of the people that are mad about it at all. Mm-hmm. It's just they want to be mad about something.
Yeah. Oh well. I think people like being angry at that.
Yeah.
It makes them feel justified in whatever it is they're doing.
And it's all sides. It's not just me defending my generation. It's the other side that have been feeling bullied are now bullying people back.
Correct.
And it's now made it uneven. There's got to be a gray area common ground, and this movie deals with all of that while still being an over-the-top comedy, and it's funny.
It was fun.
I know this discussion doesn't sound like it's funny.
It's fun.
It just got us so livid watching.
Yeah, we were all just behavior. Like, what the heck? Like, you can't tell your kid not to hit somebody with a stick. Like, what? I'd be like beating that kid. I'm like, why the hell are you hitting people? No, but his feelings are valid.
My favorite is there's a moment where he has to apologize because he yelled at the principal. But they make him apologize to the whole school, the parents, and one lady chimes in. It's a prime example of how the world is. Well, I wasn't even here, but I had heard what you said and was offended. I'm like, that bitch shouldn't even be involved.
It's like the whole
you
world.
Weren't there.
I'm offended by the news.
Yeah.
I'm offended.
I loved this movie. I thought it was hilarious.
I thought it was fun. I know if some people were bashing it because they're like, this is dumb.
Can I just say, I love me Bokeem Woodbine. I don't see enough of him.
I agree. I don't even know what he did last. It's been so long.
You didn't remember what?
I don't even remember what I've seen him in last.
Oh my God, that's not what I thought you said. Since you said I didn't even remember he was black is what I thought you said.
No, but what I will tell you is this little kid got old.
Oh, the one from the insurance commercial, internet?
Yeah, and he was also in the Google movie.
Internship?
Goodness gracious.
Anyway.
That didn't.
OldDads is a movie on Netflix. I thought it was really funny. It's not breaking any barriers down in the comedy world, but it's old school comedy meets new school mentality all through OldDads.
There you go. That's all you needed to know.
If you like Bill Burr and his stand-up, you'll love the movie.
If you don't, you probably are not going to like it.
You're probably going to get mad
at
the movie. I'd be interested to see different groups of people watch this movie and see what people get mad about. Mm-hmm. Are they mad about these guys? Or are they mad about the other people? Like we're mad at the other people. We're mad at the other people because we're like, that kid just needs a good spanking. That's what the problem is. Do I believe in beating children? No, but sometimes you need a good spanking. Or at least a timeout, or at least a punishment or something.
Do you believe in kicking children in the face if a parent has signed a waiver?
I do that now.
I know, that's what I'm saying. Whole other conversation.
You know what? That's one of the things I will tell you that I think, and of course it's now watered into that. I think contact sports, one of the best things that contact sports do is it still has the old school brand of discipline unintentionally, because it's not like, I'm not talking about them abusing people, but like in martial arts, for instance, if you're in a real martial arts school, two people have an issue with each other. When they finally get around to sparring each other, they're going to solve their issue without two people putting them together fighting. And then usually they come out on the other side better people, sometimes friends. And get over stuff. Not that everything needs to be solved with fighting, but same thing like on the football field. Sometimes somebody just needs a good hit, a good tackle, and just be like, I got that out of my system.
Move on.
You know, and I know this makes it sound like I'm all for hitting people. I mean, I am. That's what I do for a living. But I think there's a lot to be said for, and I was having to take this thing for a sports stuff, right? And one of the questions it's talking about, it's dealing with like abuses, coaches, and power and whatever. And one of the scenarios threw me off because it said a coach told somebody they couldn't have water because they did really bad, and so they had to run an extra 30 minutes before they were allowed to have any water or to rest. Do you think this was bullying? And I'm like, I know you want my answer to be no, but
like, yes, it was bullying.
I mean, you want my answer to be yes, it's bullying, but I'm like, I agree with the person. They're not doing what they're supposed to do.
Mentality, you got to do an extra lap.
Yeah, and my role in my class now is You can throw up, you can get sick, you can take a break, but you get your butt back to work. I don't care about your feelings. That's not what we do. If I had to worry about your feelings every time we were fighting, nobody would ever get anywhere.
Yeah, so it's a different time.
Oh, I'm getting a little irritable again.
Okay, we got to move on from the
move on. Old Dads it is not as deep as we made it sound. It's just there's a lot of stuff there to do. There's a lot there. It's a funny movie. It's on Netflix now.
Okay, moving on.
Let's look at something that doesn't have anything to do with my feelings.
Yeah, here you go. This has nothing to do with our feelings.
All right, the next one is called 3 Days in Malay. And of course, when I first saw this, I thought it was about Malaysia, but it's Malay like fight. So I wasn't.
Well, no, it was a base on an island.
I know
that they called Malay.
I know, but I'm just saying it's a play on the words of there are 3 days fighting and Malay fighting, and then the plays. I know.
Okay.
Anyway. But it stars Louis Mandylor, Cowboy Sharon.
That's cool that your name is Cowboy.
And Quentin Rampage Jackson, who.
How cool is that?
Those two guys are MMA fighters. And Louis Mandylor also directed it. I think he wrote it as well.
He wrote and directed it.
If you don't know who Louis Mandylor is, he's the brother of Costas Mandylor.
You would know him from Big Fat Greek Wedding.
Yes, he was recently in the Big Fat Greek Wedding 3.
And he's coming up in another movie.
My Big Fat Greek Wedding 3 Days in Malay.
There you go.
Which is all about a wedding that takes place during a war.
Yep.
So anyway, so I watched this movie. We haven't really discussed it that much yet.
Yep.
So I'm curious to hear your thoughts because you watched it after I did, kind of by yourself. So why don't you tell us your thoughts? Tell us what it's about, and then tell us your thoughts.
So the movie is inspired by a true story. There's been a lot of controversy on the internet and some reviews that were like, this is total fake, this didn't happen, or that's not what really happened. U.S. troops were there. Okay, it's inspired by a true story. U.S. troops were there. They were not there in big numbers because, hello, it's a secret mission. So they were not supposed to be there, but there were some Marines stationed at an airfield in Malay during World War II. It's a small portion of an island that they were trying to contain while the Japanese are trying to gain control of this Air Force base, which if they had done would have changed the course of things. So they're there and they're trying to hold them off until reinforcements arrive, and they find out they don't get there for 3 days. So it's just this group of soldiers at this little base trying to hold off vast numbers of Japanese soldiers that do not stop coming. Like they come up out of the ground, like out of nowhere, and they keep coming and fighting. And it's just this small groups that we're watching, and they're just trying to hold them off until help comes. That's all it is. This movie, for me, was kind of slow starting.
It was.
But once we got there, it got really interesting to me. I thought it was really good. I thought it was well done. To me, like I was saying, those Japanese soldiers, I feel like they were coming out of the grass and like boom, boom, boom.
And they were all like kamikaze type fighters.
Yes, they were, and they were so just like.
I'm with you. I thought it was kind of slow. I felt like, oh Lord, this movie's not going to ever get anywhere.
Right.
Because there's a lot of, and I understand why. It was a lot of build up. The fighting's only in the last 40 minutes. 40 minutes.
Yeah.
The main part of it. There's a couple of little things. There's like attack on a base and some other stuff they deal with. But it takes a while to get there, and it's because you're meeting all these characters, and I know when they do a war movie like this, they're trying to get you invested in who these people are, so that when the war goes down and somebody gets hurt or gets injured or sacrifices or they have an issue and they defend somebody that they didn't like, then you understand why it's important and that you care.
Yeah.
So it's kind of what the movie's doing.
It's very relationship building. You find out some of these soldiers know each other from other situations and events they've been in.
Yes, but surprisingly though, it was way better than I thought. The trailers, I think, make it look. It is a low budget movie. It's kind of like an independent type film, but I think the trailers almost made it look cheaper.
Yeah,
and I thought it was actually pretty well done.
It was better. Do you want a Melba?
Oh, thank you. I thought it was really well done. The action and stuff that is there is well done. There's some decent little fights in there. Now, I know that this is a big thing now, and it always throws me off. You know, there's the CGI bullet gunshot stuff and all that stuff. So you can kind of see sometimes the gun moving, and you know that's the actor moving. And it's not actually shooting the gun. But this is the world we're in now, and I don't necessarily disagree with it.
Is there a way it could shoot without shooting anything, or it doesn't?
Well, the problem is a lot of the accidental deaths are the projectiles coming out of thing, because most blanks are still using like gunpowder or some sort of flint to make the flash.
Gotcha.
Right? It just doesn't usually have a projectile. But if something like Brandon Lee, that's what his was.
It was
his was not a bullet.
Casing.
It was the thing got in the middle of chambering it out. From my understanding, the projectile that should have ejected got lodged in the barrel. And when they went to shoot the scene, the pressure shot it out like a bullet. So I get it, and I'm trying to change it for safety, and I'm not arguing that point. It's just something you gotta get used to.
Yeah.
But it's not so bad that like asylum movies where it's just clearly really bad all the time. But that being said, I thought it was a good movie. It's not. Again, it's not something that's going to be standing the test of time as one of the greatest war movies ever made, but it's well handled. It's decently acted. I think all the stuff at the end, battle sequences are really well done and kind of intense.
Yeah.
I mean, you also have like Rampage and Cowboy that are MMA fighters that have both been in movies before, but they're one of their Academy Award winner type actors. That's not their main job.
That's not their thing.
Rampage, in case you don't know, he's the one that played the Mr. T part in the 18 movie.
Okay.
That's who that guy is. And Cowboy is the one that's in the
who?
Remember that Gina Carano Western movie we watched?
Yes.
He was her husband.
Oh, okay. I know who he is.
Yeah.
Who was the preacher guy? Was that this guy?
Yes, that's Rampage.
Okay. That was the part I think that got me. So one of the soldiers, I guess this is normal. He's a soldier, but he's actually also their chaplain. But he's combat trained.
Yeah.
And so to me, I saw a little bit of that conflict where he's like, I really don't want to have to kill these people, but I know they're coming to kill me. I have no choice. And then also on the flip side, him having to calm some of the guys down because the impact of all of the deaths and the blood and the guts, like literally have blood and guts on them, and him having to tell them it's okay, like trying to minister to these people in the middle of a war. To me,
there's also a couple of discussions about
crazy.
You need to pray for its preacher.
Yeah.
And he's like, well, wait one time to pray. Then later on, he's like, I prayed for y'all a long time ago.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's just that part to me was very moving. I enjoyed that part of the film because, like my dad's a chaplain, but he's not been a wartime chaplain. He's just been.
And he doesn't have military training. He's an athletic human being.
He did work on base for several years, but he was head of the entire base's the maintenance people. He was in charge of the maintenance for the entire base. Yeah, that's what he did.
Well, I will say, as much as I like your dad, I'm not going to war with that man because he will not. He will be the one person to go.
My dad's been sick lately. Actually, my dad's been sick. He had like the long haul COVID that jacked up his lungs, and he already had asthma. Now recently he had bronchitis, but he has a cough that will not go away.
She tells this story now, and everybody's gonna be like, "You're a jerk talking about her dad."
And he's a sweet little 80-something-year-old man. So yeah, you're a jerk.
I am.
Anyways,
I'm a jerk because I don't want to go to war with him.
Right? No,
I want to take someone that can fight.
Oh gosh, I'm not going to get to go with you.
Anyway,
I won't get to go with you either.
You will, but I'm not waiting for you. You move too slow. You'd be hobbling along.
Anyways,
can't fit into the bunkers and stuff because your knees. We need to jump out to fight. Be stumbling over stuff.
My knees, my butt, my hip.
You can't jump, so if we had to jump over the sandbags to duck and cover, you jump halfway, run into it, and then look like Winnie the Pooh flipping over it.
How sure as heck
get shot in the butthole.
Oh my gosh,
anyway, 3 Days of Melee. It's a decent little flick. So if you like war movies or anybody that cast, give it a try. It's available now on Blu-ray and DVD. And if you go to our website at
HollywoodMatrimony.com,
we got some for a giveaway.
There you go.
What else we got?
Are you ready to go to this, or should we go something else?
Whatever you want to do.
Oh my gosh, you guys! Talk about movies that made me angry this week. This got me all riled up. This is the new documentary on Paramount Plus, Milli Vanilli.
Now, if you're not of our generation, you may not know who this is. They were these two guys that literally came out of left field.
Yes.
With one of the biggest songs of the time.
Girl, you know it's true.
That's right. Everybody knew the song. Everybody loved the song.
And everybody doing the dance. I'm doing the dance.
They were dancing. They looked like models. The song was a massive hit. Then they came back around. They were winning everything. They were like on everywhere you turn. Then they came around with what is the rain?
Blame it on the rain.
It was just like, wow, these people just cannot lose.
Turning out the hits.
And then the controversy dropped.
Yes.
So if you don't know,
they were at a show. They're performing a show. Downtown Julie Brown is announcing them. They play a show, and he's singing. And suddenly, it's like, girl, you know it. Girl, you know it. Girl, you know it. And then people realize they're singing to a track.
Now, that's not a problem necessarily because people like MC Hammer. I'm not saying he did this, but MC Hammer, Paula Abdul, all these people, if they were going to be doing
Brittany did
these heavy dance numbers, a lot of times they sing to a track because it's hard to breathe and sing while you're dancing. So instead of sounding like
that just happened this year on the Music Awards, they're like Shakira singing to a track.
Yeah,
it became a controversy.
But if you're doing a full dance routine and jumping and flipping, it's hard to be able to get a good performance song out of it. So they did the track so the audience would get to hear the regular song and get to see the performance.
Correct. This was unheard of, though, back in the day. So then people started to question, wait a minute. When I hear them talk on interviews, they have this heavy...
one's Italian, one's...
French.
No, German and
French. and German. They have these really heavy accents. But when I hear them sing, it's completely different. So then people started questioning.
But then you also look at people that are massive stutterers. They can sing perfectly.
Correct.
So they thought, well, maybe, there's the guy that's the Thai guy that sang with, was it Journey?
Yes.
Maybe he's not Thai. Where he's from.
Yeah, but he doesn't speak
barely
great
spoke English, but he could sing the songs.
But he knew all the Journey songs and sounded just like, what's his name?
That jerk guy.
The Journey guy.
Yeah.
the jerk guy.
Yeah, he's a jerk.
Yeah.
Anyway. So all these things can be written off. Until the truth came out. So spoiler alert.
Well, this became a controversy. It's news. This is a documentary, so
we all knew about this.
It came out that other people had been hired to sing the parts and put out the albums, and they were just the face of the album.
And they had won a Grammy. So you might think, hey, we already know the story,
but we did not.
What's
know
the point of this documentary? What's interesting here is, it's a little more impactful because we lived through it, and we all know the songs. And you still can't help but sing the songs. You know the truth.
I know all the songs.
And you still love Milli Vanilli songs.
I do too. I do.
But I think I had the single for "Girl You Know It's True." That's the only non-rap or heavy metal album I ever bought a single for was the Milli Vanilli single.
Man, but once you hear the real story of what happened,
I feel bad for those guys.
I do. I was so angry. So
most people were mad at them, but when you start hearing this record producer guy
got ripped off,
is the guy that really, and they were at fault. So I'm not saying they're innocent, but they're the only people that took a fall. You see it. And what's great about this documentary is with the exception of that record producer, they had everybody involved. The people that really sang, the people that really did the rap, the backup singers, dancers, the lady that was like a direct
the assistant
to that producer guy. She was right there and involved in all of it. Record label executives. They had like way more people that were actually willing to speak about stuff than I would have expected. There's only one of the guys left now.
Rob.
They had him on here. So it was interesting just to get the in-depth story of not only their rise in career, which is more infuriating when you realize that they could really sing.
He could really sing. They both could really sing, and then to see it. I skip ahead to the end,
it was like a live
Rob,
performance.
He's doing a live performance. He sings beautifully.
Yeah.
Why didn't they just let them sing?
But I think that made it for the perfect ending to the documentary because it was
came full circle.
To me, it almost felt like a retribution for him. They show him singing the song. They became famous for not singing and showing that I'm not a fraud.
But the sad part is that we lost Fab because of it.
Not Fab Freddy.
No, the other guy. It's just sad. And then you really see how, which I think back in the day, this happened to a lot of people with records, is they sign you for a deal, they give you this house and car, whatever. But if you tried to leave, you'd have to pay for it back. None of it was really yours. Yeah. And that happened with a lot of rappers.
When he died, he owned
nothing. Houses, these cars, all this stuff.
Death Row Record. There was a whole thing about it that I think his mom came out and after Tupac died, they said everything he owned was in Death Row's name.
He had nothing.
He owned nothing.
These people had nothing, and that's what happened to them if they hadn't have just done it.
Who was it? There was one of the rap guys that's in that. I think he was in the Dog Pound. One of those guys. I don't remember which one it was. It might have. I don't think it was DOC. Maybe it was DOC. Anyway, doesn't matter. Somebody told him, "Look at your contract. Don't sign crap with Death Row." And so when he decided, I'm not going to sign, let my attorney look at it. Suge Knight obviously started threatening. He goes, no. And he said some of the best advice he had ever gotten was from one of the other guys. And I don't remember if it was Snoop or Dre or somebody had said, don't sign anything, you know, and so he walked away without all of his catalog being stolen and taken. And,
that's good.
And the fun flip on that entire story is that Snoop Dogg now owns that entire thing and has been giving everybody their stuff back.
Anyways, but when you see this movie, you're going to see that these were not the only people this happened to.
There was a couple of them that were, I didn't realize.
There were like 2 other groups that same producer would do the same thing, and it becomes like him actually exploiting black
and not
fingers.
Even just before. He even did it again with somebody after.
So it's so infuriating. I hope everyone will
watch.
What's
funny is I was talking about this with somebody else, and they were like, well, you know, maybe one day we'll get to hear an album. I said, they released an album for the real Milli Vanilli, which are the real group that did all the songs, but nobody cared.
Yeah, and they released one. The other guy released one.
They made their own stuff. Their music just didn't make it because people were only too turned off, and they were the scapegoats in the public eye. And the other guy jumps out.
It's not fair.
He said some stuff. He admitted to it and walked away. Where these 2 guys were just left as fans were like, screw those guys. But we didn't think about as fans at the time all the other people that were involved that would have known. I never once thought about that when I was younger. You know what I mean?
Like, wow, that's weird.
I'm just saying, I wasn't really that mad. I was like, oh, that's jacked up. But it was never, I never once go, well, why would the record label let that happen? Why would the producer let that? Because you don't think about that. You just see these faces, this controversy, they lied, F them, move on.
Yeah.
You know, and so their lives are affected.
But then really to see how their lives were affected, I mean, that's how we lost one of these guys. It's so sad and it's infuriating because it never should have happened to them. It's really sad.
So whether you know the music, whether you're from our time, whether you're a fan or not, it's actually a very interesting, well put together documentary that I
really good.
recommend you
I enjoyed it. And I enjoyed, like you said, getting to hear from the real people.
Yeah. And I like to know that the one guy's doing really well.
Yeah, good for him. All right.
Available now on Paramount Plus. Also on Paramount Plus is this new streaming South Park special that I'm not going to go into the whole special, but they've been doing these specials since Paramount Plus launched. They had post-COVID, they had streaming wars, all these play on words. The latest one is going to be a big controversial one because it's the Panderverse, and the entire story is, well, there's 2 stories. One of them, Cartman keeps having these dreams where all the South Park characters have been replaced by women. So like he's a black, chubby black lady. Kenny's like an Asian woman, I believe. So they're playing up the whole woke thing. And then there's this entire sub-story that's part of the whole thing about Kathleen Kennedy and Disney, where in one universe, Cartman's actually Kathleen Kennedy.
Nice.
Then the real Kathleen Kennedy got away. And so they're running around and somebody says something to her like, well, when you do such and such, you're like, cancel it, replace it with a woman, make her a lesbian, roll it. You know, they're like, we're going to make a new Indiana Jones movie. It's going to be a woman. And so it's like playing up to all that stuff. It's really funny, though. But there's some people grabbing onto it already and using it as their own propaganda now.
Yeah.
So anyway, that's also exclusive to Paramount Plus.
Are you ready to go to this?
Sure, let's go.
All right. This came out of nowhere for me. I had no idea what was going on. You just sent me a link, and you're like, watch this movie. You're going to like it.
Yeah, so is it pronounced Boudica? Boudica? Boudica?
Boudica. I guess.
I don't know. Which is also the undertitle of it is Queen of War. And it's a movie by Jesse V. Johnson, the director, who not only am I a fan of, I correspond via Facebook with him very often.
Boudica.
But he makes a lot of he's made a lot of Scott Adkins movies. He made Accident Man, Savage Dog, Avengement, Triple Threat. And so anytime he makes anything, I watch it. Right? He made one of the last movies he did was a movie called Hell Hath No Fury. I don't know if you watched that one.
No.
But it's kind of, it's a war movie with Nazis and stuff that's actually well done. I think Costas Mandalore is in it too. Anyway, so this one is his latest film. I was looking forward to seeing it, but when it gets into these movies at this time period, I'm very hit and miss because sometimes they either get too wordy.
Yeah.
And then they drag and drag and drag, or they so focus on the action, there's no story. So I get concerned. I had a little more hope because of his involvement in making this, but I was worried, are we gonna meet to this? So before I watched it, I did look up to see, is she a real person?
Yes.
You know, now I know the story doesn't necessarily go by what I've read in some of the history.
Yeah, it's not
but she is a real person.
It is a real person.
And in the movie, she's played by, I can say her name right, Olga Kurylenko, who was in Extraction 2 with Chris Hemsworth.
Nice.
So we know she can do some action.
I wonder what her
so why don't you tell us what the story's about, ma'am?
Man, she's so cool. So it's based on the true story of this is during the Roman times. So this is in like the year 61 Roman Empire.
I think it's 60 AD or something like that.
60 AD. And Rome obviously is conquering, taking over everything at the time. We know they had the largest army in the world. And her husband are the king and queen of a small little province of their own. And Rome's like, oh, they come by her, oh, we see you're taking good care of our lands, wink, wink. And she's like, oh, yes, my lord, whatever. Because they have to have peace, because they know they're just a small little thing. Rome could wipe them out. Husband dies. Won't tell you how because that's a spoiler alert. And
in this time period in that picture, somebody's gonna die.
Yeah, they offer Rome half of the lands
actually, he leaves it in the will. He leaves part of it to her, part of it to them.
Half and half.
Trying to give
dedication to Rome.
Yeah, trying to do the right thing and say, we respect you, Rome.
And guess what Rome does?
Rome are assholes. We already know that.
Yes, Rome's like,
I think I'll have it all.
I'll just take it all, killing everybody. They think they killed her. Guess what? They didn't. They just made her angry.
So part of this movie is like a women empowerment.
Yes.
But that's why I knew you would like it. The other's got historical aspect.
Yep.
Vengeance.
Yep.
Fighting for your freedom.
Yes.
There's a lot of elements here.
Fighting for her daughters, her family, to keep them together. Okay, so we got to go back in history too. At one point, her family lineage she is from like these what did they call them? Like these savage tribes of the land. So I'm feeling
is Iceni?
Yeah, from the Iceni tribes, but
also like almost like a Viking, like
kind of like a Viking-ish descendant. Like they consider these people to be savages.
Yeah.
But so
not like the snooty Romans.
But like all those people were like, oh, this lady. That their stories foretold that a woman would come forward and would lead them to war. So they're following the old traditions and prophecies. And that's why you see them with all this cool face paint and mud and stuff. And so she leads all of these small tribes that where all their lands have been stolen and her people, and they all start fighting back. And I loved it.
So did it bother you at all? Because the majority of the movie is laid in realism, but there is a little bit of
there's a little mysticism,
supernatural element.
And
did it bother you at all, or did it feel like it fed into the historical myths
feel
that
like
we
it works
hear about?
Because some of it, because you have kind of that the people like your
talking about Sword in the Stone.
No, what am I thinking? Like Viking type people that believed in that.
Yeah,
and at one point, the witch, the soothsayer lady, comes and talks to her and shows her a vision. And
they don't show like weird mystical things happening, but there's little
things that happen.
Things that kind of like, how do you explain that away?
Well,
but there's more to it.
And then people just accept that she sees voices or hears things like the visions and stuff. People just accept it because in this time period that's normal to them. So I was just rolling with it. I'm like, because I knew what happened. I knew it immediately. And I'm like, okay, why don't they know? Or does she not know? But then I was like, oh, okay, I get it.
And I think it's one of those, it's not supposed to be a secret.
No.
But you either know now and you're like, oh, crap. Or when you do realize it later, you're like, oh, crap. It works either
both ways. I went with it. That part didn't bother me because I understand.
But I was thinking more like the stuff in relation to like the sword.
Yeah, no, I got it.
But I think it's more of a symbolism.
It's symbol, but perhaps a little bit mystic. Maybe it was
very King Arthur.
It was endued with special properties to say this warrior and this sword would come together.
Yeah, but not in a way that was giving her powers or anything. So for people
watching
it's not. Yeah, it's not like you're going to be watching some magic sword story. It's not that crap.
Yeah.
It's still grounded in realism, but with some mysticism kind of thrown in based on legend and folklore and. Like I said, it's similar to King Arthur and the Sword in the Stone and the Lady of the Lake. It's none of that, but it's like that idea that it's not magic, but it is.
But it is.
You kind of buy into it because like, oh, this is what they believe.
Yeah, I mean, I dug it. I really liked the movie.
Why not? I heard you in there yelling, and
I did, because at one point you're fighting the Romans. I'm like, man, just cut their legs, because they had their little skirts on. So I'm like, just cut a thigh and hit that artery. And then at one point she's like, ha ha! And I cracked
this
up
is what
laughing.
I'm hearing from the other side of the house.
Oh my gosh, I was laughing so hard because it's like, she got it. So, anyways.
But I think it was well crafted, because I think movies like this can get bogged down in dialogue sometimes.
Yeah.
Because there's so much political stuff, and there's kings and palaces and planning.
You have to remember who.
It's like watching, the Game of Thrones and all these things. And sometimes it's just like, come on, shut up, just go do something. And then it gets lost in itself. Where in this movie, I think it had a good balance. And for being again another kind of a lower budget movie, it didn't feel that way.
No, it's really good.
It felt like it had a big budget. There's epic war battles. Even though or I'm assuming there's some blood splatters that are CGI-ish. You can't tell it all looks. And I may be wrong, and I'm only assuming because everybody does that. I know Johnson does, hardcore action stuff, so he may be using all real blood. And if he is, please, thank you, Lord, because that's what I want to see. But nothing felt cheap and fake. It all felt like the battles were happening, and people were and they're bloody battles. They're being dismembered, and there's no pulling punches with nonsense. That's one of the things I liked, is like, I have a major issue when you show movies that have big battles and you see no blood or dismemberment or killing like that, because it's like, how am I watching 30 people on a field fighting and I ain't seen a single drop of blood? They unleashed hell and fury all the way through this movie. It is a little slow starting as you're building everything up.
You got to learn everybody and what's happening.
But once they get to it, they unleash hell.
Yeah, that's cool.
Now, were you okay with the way it ended? Even though I know that I don't think that's the way she actually died.
No, she died a little bit differently.
I know it's a spoiler alert, but
what am I showing the right slide, guys?
I don't know.
Yes, I am.
I know it's a spoiler, but this is historical stuff. Yeah. We all know she's not still alive, but I think
she could still be alive.
Yeah, I think the direction they went in the film was a little bit different than what happened in real life, but it made more sense in the movie for the narrative they're telling for this story.
Yeah, but it worked out fine. I thought it was good. I mean, the point is that their prophecies or whatever happened. The lady showed up. They did fight back for the people. And during the English Renaissance, people brought the story back up and it became famous, and poets and writers would bring it up. And I think the queen too, because she's a powerful female, so probably not this one, but the one before, Elizabethan era. I mean, they brought it forward. And so I've actually seen the statue in
Have you really?
London. Yeah, it's in London. I never even paid attention.
You didn't know who it was? You just saw it?
Yeah, but it's a statue of Boudica and her two daughters riding in a chariot off to battle. So I've seen it. It's at one of the palaces somewhere. Sweet. And I just never paid attention to it. And then I'm like, hey, I've seen that. So, yeah, it's a true story, and it's really interesting. So, there you go.
Another hit from Johnson.
Uprising.
The only request I have, or my only issue I have with this movie was, where was Scott Adkins?
That's you expected all of his movies.
Why couldn't Scott Adkins show up as like one of the Roman soldiers to fight? And I want some jump kicks and some flips, but I want Scott Adkins and everything.
You want her, exactly. You just want Scott Adkins playing.
Another Air 5 to Mr. Johnson.
Playing all the roles.
I love his stuff. He does great stuff.
Anyways, all right.
Check out this movie if you can find it. It's on, I believe it's available now in theaters, but I think it's also somewhere. It's on digital on demand. So if you can find it, if you find it at a theater, go see it at theater, because it's got some big epic fights. It would be great on the big screen.
Yeah.
But if you can't, find it on digital on demand. Watch it. Check it out. Something different instead of all the same crap. Skip watching Taylor Swift for the 300th time and watch this.
Are people still watching that?
Huh? That movie's been a massive hit.
Oh, she did a good.
Juggernaut.
That was a good move by her to record it. Then to do it.
Well, yeah, it's a whole thing.
She'll never have to work again.
Not from what I've been hearing.
Okay, next.
All right. So anyway, the next film we got to talk about, which I've actually been really looking forward to, was 5 Nights at Freddy's.
It's available now on Peacock.
It's what?
On Peacock.
It's in theaters. This is one of the few in a long time that actually came out dual release, so people were a little worried. Excuse me. And if I remember correctly, this film was initially meant to just be a Peacock film, and then they decided to put it in the theater as well.
Okay.
Because when they were making a lot of this stuff, theaters aren't doing it as well, so I don't think they really knew, but they already decided let's just go with both. And it's a smart plan, because this is a movie that who knows what kind of audience is going to have. It has a following. It's based on a video game, so I was fully aware of the following. The game's been around for a long time. I know tons of people who are super stoked to see this. The game, I think, has been around since like 2014.
Wow.
So there's been talk about movies forever. The basic premise is this place. It's like a kid's pizza place with these animatronic characters that come to life and murder people. That's basically the premise. The game, I guess, was you kind of running around there and trying not to get murdered.
Yeah.
I don't know. So my big stepping stone for this is a movie called Willy's Wonderland with Nicolas Cage that came out back in 2021. That while there's been story that was inspired by that, and then other times the people said it had nothing to do with that movie, it was their own thing. Either way, it's the same vibe. It's the same thing as somebody being stuck inside. And Willy's Wonderland is all kinds of badass. It's bloody, it's gory, it's fun.
Pretty good.
So I had my expectations. I will say my expectations were lowered slightly when I found out it was going to be PG-13, so I knew I wasn't going to get the same gore factor. But from a business standpoint, I understood it because they sell toys for Five Nights at Freddy's too. So they were trying to get that bigger group.
Trying to get those people.
And I will tell you that it paid off because not only was it the #1 movie, it made like $78 million. Wow. While doing dual streaming.
Wow.
Which
is
pretty
good.
Pretty big thing. So with that being said, this version is follows a security guard who's trying to raise his sister, and he's got his own traumas or whatever, and gets a job at Freddy's, and then of course craziness goes on. So you know nothing about the premise other than Willy's Wonderland, if I'm not mistaken.
I know nothing about it. Yeah.
So what did you think of the movie?
I liked it. It was okay. I do wish there had been a little bit more blood and guts, but that's just me because I when I envision evil, murderous robot things, I'm like rah 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 rah.
Yeah.
So that's what I'm expecting. The story was decent. I like what's his name?
Josh Hutcherson.
PETA from
Peter Brad Hutcherson
from what am I thinking?
Hunger
Games. PETA. He's okay. He's good. The little girl was actually really good too, because you never know with kids. Sometimes they can hit me annoying. She was fine. Some of your other characters, I think, are a little bit on the nose, and you know what's kind of going on. Like, you know this person's involved somehow, because there's no way they're not, that they're there, but they're not involved. Like, come on. So that is a little bit, too right there. Overall, I thought it was good. If I'm comparing the two,
there's no comparison. Willy's Wonderland is
a way better movie. But
here's my thing.
This is better for families, I guess. I don't know. Is your audience a family? Do you want to take your kid to it?
I don't know, because I've always like I'll be first to tell you, I've never played the game. I know the game, I know its premise, I know a lot about it, but I've never played it. It was always, my understanding, a horror game. I know they don't. And correct me if I'm wrong. I don't think they show any of the kills on screen. I think they're all off-screen kills, which is my problem, because in the movie they did the same thing. All the kills were off screen. I understand trying to do the PG-13 thing.
Can you not do any little blood splatter?
You can, but I mean, and that wasn't even my big issue. My big issue with this movie is the Freddy's part, and these animatronic characters seem like second part of the story.
And that should have been the main thing.
Like, we spend more time watching
Josh PETA deal with his trauma,
flashbacks and his dreams that he has and his home life and all the crap going on, that the actual Five Nights at Freddy's aspect seems like second thought. It doesn't seem like it's the movie.
Yeah, it's too
bad. I felt like, why am I like? You could have cut half of that stuff out of the movie. Like, we see the same dream sequence at least 4 to 6 times that we didn't need to see. I mean,
I understand, because we're building the story and getting new information every time, but
yeah, but we're repeating ourselves when we don't need to repeat it. I feel like they repeated themselves.
I feel like if they had done it, by the time he figured out what it was, it's like we could have done that two scenes ago.
Yeah, and then it was very convoluted at times. Like, the entire ending twist was, I figured out the twist pretty easily, and it wasn't any big shock value. It's very convoluted and all over the place. There's no real justifiable reasoning behind it. It's just like,
it just is.
Okay, that's it. And again, I didn't hate. It sounds like I hated the movie. I didn't hate the movie. It was fine.
It was fine.
But it's just like, I was really surprised to hear how many fans of the game loved this movie.
Really?
Like, one of them I know gave it a 10 out of 10.
Oh no!
And I'm like, how crappy is this game?
Yeah.
That this movie was that close because
one of the arguments. A DOS game? Like.
Well, one of the arguments was somebody I know said the problem with most of the reviewers is they don't play the game and they don't know the lore, so that's why they have an issue with it. Okay. I don't play the game and I don't know the lore, but guess what? I've watched the movie and it didn't tell me anything. And so that's a problem. You should be able to go into a movie like this, come out of it and say, I get why people are a fan.
Yeah.
Watching Willy's Wonderland, I get why they would play Five Nights at Freddy's if that's what that is.
Yes.
If this is what the game is, I would return it because this is boring. Like if is the game watch? I know it's not really this guy, but if the game watching this guy deal with trauma and have a lot of naps and go to social security offices and is that what I'm dealing with? Because if not, that's not what the movie should have been.
Yeah.
The movie should have been: are we in Freddy's? Are we running around trying to survive Freddy's? Are we making pizzas? Are we cleaning the joint? What are we doing at Freddy's?
This one's like it's just like a bad banana split stream.
Yeah, but the Banana Splits movie was awesome.
That's what they're saying. Like this was like worse than like trying to jack up banana splits and make it scary, and it didn't even work.
That person's a fool. That Banana Splits movie is awesome too.
Okay, I know, but
which is a slasher flick. But I know, but they're
saying no, they're saying it's worse. It's bad.
Yeah, they're saying it's worse by saying it's bad.
Okay, but you really enjoyed it.
I like the Banana Splits movie because again, that was taking a property and then amping it up. Let's do something new with it. But slashers.
I think most people agree Willy's Wonderland's the way to
go. If
you want a real slasher movie, Willy's Wonderland.
Willy's Wonderland is the exact same movie, but with violence. If you just want to see,
I guess, little robot-y things that you grew up with, go see Freddy.
Visually, the robots look great. They look like the stuff out of the game.
But they were not really scary.
No, and I don't think well, that's the thing is I don't think they're intended to visually be scary, which is what makes them scary. Is you see them and you're like, oh, I want to hug you. And then it chokes you. Like that's what it should be. Like I don't even Willy's Wonderland, they're not initially scary until they're murdering you.
Yeah.
You know, and that's my problem.
It was okay, guys.
Yeah,
we're not bashing it. It was okay.
No, I'm gonna bash it.
It was okay.
It's fine. It's just there's nothing there.
I don't think it's $78 million okay.
No, well, that's all the fans that play the game going to see it and wanting to see it. I get that. And I'm glad it did well. I really am.
Good for y'all.
Because it's a genre movie that maybe more stuff will get made. Somebody else will see another brand and be like, oh, okay, people want to see this stuff. Let's make some other stuff.
Yeah, make some different.
You know, and I've heard they're supposed to make 2 more, so maybe they'll fix the issues with this and actually
make it rated R.
Well, even I get the PG-13, but there's horror movies that come out that are PG-13 all the time that have way more intensity. At least make some scares. There's no scares in the movie.
Jump scares.
There's nothing. It's just.
It's bland.
It was scary to go to Showbiz Pizza when we were a kid.
Showbiz was scary. Those things.
Just to go watch them play on the stage and play in those ball pit and wonder if you're going to get molested than it was to watch this movie. You know, I didn't hate the movie, but I will say I was pretty let down.
Aw, so, I'm sorry.
But I'm glad. Thankfully, I'm glad they put it on Peacock because we watched it at home, and we
didn't have to pay.
I would have been mad if I saw it at the theater.
If we had to pay for it. Yeah, it was okay. I thought it was just fine. I don't know anything about it, so I think it was fine.
Had the movie not been based on a property, then I probably would have liked it more. Had Willy's Wonderland not existed, I would have liked it more. But I would still been like, we're not going to see any kills.
Yeah.
Not even the ending.
Yeah.
Like I don't mind build up in movies where they build the tension and then it's the last act and you finally get to see the reveal or the big murder they paid for that they could afford to do one good one. Yeah. I'd have been fine with that. We still didn't get that here.
Well, and the other random thing, which is kind of mean but true, is like there's no way to compare PETA to Nicolas Cage.
No. I mean, he's a good actor, don't get me wrong.
It's Nicolas Cage.
Nobody's Nicolas Cage.
Why is he randomly sitting out here? Shouldn't he be against the wall?
Billy?
Yeah.
He's
he's
watching the show.
I know, but put him.
There's stuff there right now.
Oh, okay.
He just got put up here after I
understand. He's fine there.
Billy from Saw is sitting over here on his tricycle watching the show.
Because Halloween approaches. Oh, did you pick your scary movie of the week?
No, I decided I wasn't going to do one.
I'm picking one. All right, let's move on from this because it was okay. Bland at best.
Anyway, Five Nights at Freddy's is in theaters and on Peacock. If you're on the fence with it and you got Peacock, watch it at home.
Just watch it. It's fine. Grab some popcorn.
decide for yourself, because I mean, there's obviously been people liking it. It has a higher audience score than it has a reviewer score, so people are liking it.
Audiences like it and reviewers don't. That makes sense.
And while I understand if you're a fan of the game, your nostalgia aspect will make you like it more because you'll see some of the Easter eggs and some of the other stuff that I won't see. But that doesn't save me from being not a very good movie.
Okay. So, all right then. Next.
Anyway, moving on.
All right, we got one more. This was the. We got two more. This was the. Was this the Hulu movie of the week? Yes. Cobweb.
The Webs of Cob.
Yes, so let me go tell y'all some stuff about the old Cobweb.
You pushed me on this one. I saw it, but I wasn't.
I saw the trailer and I was like, whoa. We are watching this movie right now. Did you do a review? You did not.
I did not review it.
Oh my goodness.
I didn't have time.
All right. So the movie Cobweb is basically about a little boy who begins to hear knocking and strange voices in the walls. And his parents are acting really weird. And the voice tells him, the parents are trying to trap you. Don't trust them. They're not what they seem. And he starts having these really bad nightmares. His parents are freaking him out. It's crazy. And the voice is like, I can help you. First of all, guys, when there's like knocking and voices in your walls, that's the time to run away. I'm sorry. I'm not good with that. I'm just like, no. But then the parents start acting suspicious. And so you're like, oh my gosh, they got him locked up tight. He needs to get out. So I was supporting him trying to get away from his parents. It gets scary.
So, and I had my theories early on that
I did too, and I was totally wrong.
I think I was majority of it. I was right.
Yeah.
I think there was little elements that I didn't have right, but
so
I will say that initially I was a little bit bored with this movie.
It was a little slow,
and I was also building the table from hell, and
that coffee table.
It's a whole other story. That table is bad enough it got built twice, and that doesn't even live at our house anymore. Yeah. But I was getting distracted. I wasn't overly focused. I thought the cast was doing a good job, and
yes.
I like Anthony Starr and Lizzie Kaplan.
Yeah, they're the parents. Really good. And there's that one creepy thing where she's like, it scared me. Watch the trailer. Oh my gosh.
It's got some great visuals, and the whole vibe almost feels like a haunted house.
Yes.
Even though that's not what the story is. But once it starts revealing some stuff, it makes you question everything because you don't know who's involved in what. Are they aliens? Are they demons?
I thought they were aliens.
I know. Are the parents involved? Are they not? And is this person just crazy?
Yes. And I thought, I'm like, this is the murder house. Because at one point, they're like, we don't celebrate Halloween because the little girl went missing. I'm like, is this the murder house? Mm-hmm. Is that why? Is the house haunted by the little girl's spirit?
Then I was upset. So why is her yard covered in pumpkins?
Because I'm like, are they hiding bodies? I was going all over the world. This movie got me like, whoa. It's a really good movie. It's a good one for Halloween. I think you should check it out. Are you okay? I'm trying to save you. Do you want me to Heimlich you?
No, don't let my Heim.
Anyways, I can't tell you too much because we don't want to give it away, but you need to see this
It's
movie.
One that it is really one you just need to just let it unfold. Don't watch the trailer. Don't do anything. Just let the movie unfold.
Like I didn't let you watch the trailer. It was so good. I was just like, we are watching this movie. Go watch it right now. This, to me, is a better movie than that Freddy movie.
Oh, yeah, this is way better than Freddy's.
Way better than 5 Nights at Freddy's. This one actually has creepy creatures, alien things, jump scares. There's some blood and guts. There's some good tension. There's a thing where you don't know.
There's a mystery.
And you don't know if actually these people are like racist and they're going to kill that black lady. Like there's some missing kids. There's haunted houses. There's creepy things in the walls. There's voices like, I can help you get out. Like, oh my gosh, everything. There's a creepy grandfather clock. That's a big center, a thing of the
There's a little bit of everything.
There's
all while being nothing like what you think it is.
No. Oh my gosh. It got me, y'all. It got me.
This was a good one. I enjoyed this one. Thank you for having me watch.
Yes. Picked a good one. This might be one of my Halloween things I start watching.
She doesn't pick things very often.
I don't pick great things.
But this one was a good one.
This one was a good one. All right, moving on. Check it. Check 1, 2. One more.
So this one movie has nothing to do with anything we've talked about.
No.
This is the latest Jackie Chan movie called RideOn.
Yes.
And I've known about this movie for a while. I kept seeing things about it, and of course, being martial arts and Jackie Chan, obviously I wanted to see it, but I thought it was going to be one of these like silly, goofy things. Because you look at the picture, it looks like it's a comedy, like a goofy movie.
Yes.
Right? Not a movie with Goofy, but a silly movie. And, we all know Jackie Chan also has a lot of comedy elements to a lot of his movies.
Yes.
But this is a heavy movie, man.
It was. Oh my gosh, I was crying. Like, I'm over here crying about this horse. It says introducing Red Hair. The name of the horse is Red Hair.
So what's interesting about this movie is
crying my guts out over here.
This movie is it's a story about, you know, accepting your lot in life. It's a stuff about aging, families and things like this. But the entire movie is really, and it says it up at the top, it's really a homage to the world of stunts.
Yes.
And the people that do it and their codes and of course, who's the biggest one to ever do it would be Jackie Chan. And there's even a sequence in here that I think I had been telling you about it for a while. And then we see it in this movie. They use actual footage of his old stunts that we used to see at the end of his movies as footage of him as a younger in his heyday, which is very emotional to watch. It reminded me of Ozzy Osbourne, that's the Simple Man or whatever, Ordinary Man video where he's watching the videos and stuff.
Yeah.
So it's hard to tell like how much is
he's
acting,
really
how much is he actually crying. You know.
And then that led me to that scary video of 10 times Jackie Chan almost died on set, and I'm like dying.
And you're watching stuff that I've seen a billion times.
Well, because I mean, I haven't seen all his movies. You've seen all his movies. Yeah. I know. I haven't. I've just seen a couple here and there on TV.
So lazy.
I'm like, how did he do this? Where are the wires? And you're like, there are no wires. And I'm like, what? Because that's where he comes from, though.
Yeah.
And it's interesting because we see that, and then we see now modern day where everything's green screen and wires. And he's like, no, I don't do that. We do it for real. And they're like, no, you can't do it for real.
But the stuff he's doing in this movie is a metaphor of not only the career of stunt people, but of life and how it affects those around you. Like, you have to learn to move on or change with the times for your family as well as your career or how you deal with things, because sometimes you don't have a choice.
Yeah.
Or you get left behind. And it's interesting seeing the story is essentially that's an age stunt man, but he's raised this horse who is now kind of a stunt horse, and they kind of get a second chance in life and career. And so then most of the movie is seeing them on movie sets doing stunts, and then there's some fights, and then of course there's the people that he owes money to, so he gets some fight scenes. So there's a lot of action in the movie. There's a lot of humor, but again, it was way heavier emotionally.
Yeah, because there's this whole sub story of him and his daughter, that because of what he's done, he wasn't a reliable parent, because anytime you get a call to be on scene, he was gone. He would go do that. Like, that was his
and he
primary
couldn't say
focus.
No, which is a real thing for stunt people, is they can't give it up. They want to be there.
Because if you don't take a job, they might not call you for the next one. So
well, and it's in your blood. They stop. They want that stunt. They love the rush of what they do in creating and so and I think there's a martial art mentality of that, because like I have that same thing, as I feel I have to be at class at some point. Like we go out of town, I'm having a great time, but I'm like from my class, So it's an interesting twist on the whole thing and how much it is a love letter to the world of stunts.
Oh my gosh, should I take her?
What do you want?
She wants to go outside.
Here, eat that and be quiet.
Anyways, it's really good. It's very emotional. I was crying, and I was rooting for the horse the whole time, and I'm crying about a horse. Oh my gosh.
And that horse has so much personality. Stop. Unlike this one. Has so much personality. Like, obviously it's not a talking horse, so that would be ridiculous. But you can see its sadness, you can see when it's happy, you can see the physicality of the horse, the way it does stuff. It's like their relationship is heavy as well.
Yeah, for sure.
And you see the depth. It's like their relationship is almost metaphoric to his relationship with his child.
Well, and that's the thing, is at one point his daughter's like, you love this horse more than you've ever loved me. You've been there for this horse, and you've never been here for me. And it's a realization of his whole life. He spent his whole life doing all these stunts and and he completely ignored his family. So it's heavy.
It's a great. It might be one of my favorites of the year. It was a great. Put it on the top list,
because it's really good. So I hope everybody
can check it out. If you go to our website,
HollywoodMatrimony.com,
you can win a copy of it.
Yes, free stuff. I love it. Anyways,
so it's available now on Blu-ray and DVD.
Check it out.
I don't know if it's on Hiya.
Hiya.
But I'll have to double check. It usually goes there eventually.
All right. Okay, quickly tell me what's going on over there because I think this dog wants to go outside.
So this week, we have some decent stuff coming out this week on Blu-ray and DVD. Okay. We've got Schindler's List is coming out through the Universal Essentials 4K collection. Harrison Ford movie Witness is coming to 4K. The Liam Neeson movie Retribution, which is the one where he's in a car the entire time. We talked about on the show. Really it's coming out to Blu-ray and DVD. Blue Beetle, the latest DC movie, is coming to 4K Blu-ray, which we also have on our website to give away.
Nice.
The sequel to Justice League XRWBY, Superhero and Huntsman, Part 2 is coming out. So we'll be talking about that next week. Mission Impossible Dead Reckoning Part 1 is coming to Blu-ray and 4K and all that good stuff too. And then there's a bunch of random, animes and things like that coming out.
I have no idea what I just clicked. All right, coming out online or on the theater tomorrow on the 30th on Video Demand and Digital, something called Rise of the Foot Soldier Vengeance. It's this guy who goes off on a rampage, blah, blah, killing people, foot soldiers. I don't know. It's in the 90s, tracking down who's responsible. That's all I know. I don't know. Coming out on Tuesday, this looks bad, and it's one of those I'm going to have to watch it.
We have it to watch.
It's coming out on Halloween Day, a movie called Bloodthirst. Okay.
You say it looks bad. I was going to be telling you, did you want to watch that tonight?
I do.
It's got Costas Mandylor in it.
It's got Costas Mandylor. Tara Reid is a vampire.
That's when you lose it, Tara Reid.
She's a vampire. So basically, vampires are roaming the world, feeding on the last humans that are left. The humans decide they're going to band together and go kill the king of the vampires and deal with all of them. And so that's the whole point. We're fighting.
You had Tara Reid in there. You already know that.
And Tara Reid's like there. So I'm just like lost.
We are going to be watching that.
Okay, so we'll talk about that. Also, an interesting thing coming out on demand and digital. It's called The Elderly.
Yep.
A man's wife dies, and everybody notices he begins acting really strangely and actually kind of violent. And so then they start noticing that all the elderly people in the area start behaving really strangely.
How can you tell the difference?
I don't know.
So I deal with elderly people, and they always act strangely.
So it says that the older people in the community seem to know something the young people do not, and it's paired with lust for blood. So what would happen if all the elderly people try to kill all the salt? I don't know. They might do it. They all have guns and stuff. Who knows? This one's interesting. It's a documentary called Reality Winner. It's based on the true story of the whistleblower who exposed the Russian interference in the U.S. elections. Now, some of you may not want to believe that that's true. You want to believe Trump.
It's fake news.
Trump was right, but it's true. Russia interfered with our elections. Trump knew about it the whole time because he's buddy-buddy with what's his name. So this is the story of the true whistleblower and everything that happened to her post revealing it.
Still sitting on the screen, too.
No, okay. Post revealing it, and then the question is, was it worth risking her life to ensure freedom for our country? Don't know, because now she's suddenly the enemy. Coming out Wednesday, November 1st, a movie on Netflix called Locked In. It's basically a mother-in-law and her daughter-in-law that hate each other, but suddenly there's an affair within the house somewhere. Between the two? It sets off, no, I don't think so, a chain reaction of murder and a plot to bring down the daughter-in-law. So we don't really know who we can trust. Is it the mother-in-law? Is it the daughter-in-law? We don't know.
Who can you trust?
Also coming out to Netflix, a movie called Wing Woman. Tired of life on the run, two best friends are like, let's just get out of here. One last job and then we're done. And of course, that never goes right. Terrifier 2.
It's just getting a return to theaters.
If you like that horrible clown.
Have you never seen it?
No, because I don't like clowns.
I'm telling you though.
I know people are like
it is so good.
So about this movie.
The gore factor is.
Is this the one they tried to nominate for an award?
Yeah, they tried to get an Academy Award for it. They put
it's such a big deal now.
They already announced Terrifier 3. They're already shooting it. It's gonna be a Christmas movie.
Oh my gosh. Okay, coming out also to Netflix, something called Hurricane Season.
And he doesn't talk. Art the Clown
does he do a creepy laugh?
I don't think so. I don't remember now.
Okay, Hurricane Season, a group of teens find a corpse floating in a canal, and the village ensues to investigate the murder themselves. Coming also Netflix. Netflix is having a big week this week. It's a new series called All the Light We Cannot See, Extraordinary Power of Human Connection with Mark Ruffalo. It's based on a French refugee during World War II and a German teenager, and they're trying to just get out and figure it out. Okay, Friday. Finally, we're getting to Friday in theaters. What Happens Later? This is Meg Ryan and David Duchovny. So a couple find themselves stuck together. Ex-couple stuck together in a snowstorm. I'm going to assume craziness is going to ensue. I've been waiting for this forever. The new movie Priscilla, the story of Priscilla Presley. I'm excited. A movie called Divinity. Two mysterious brothers abduct this guy because they think that he can give them the key to immortality. Who knows? Also, The Marsh King's Daughter. This is, what's her name? Oh, shoot. I lost
Star Wars?
Yes. What's her name?
I don't know which one is it. Is it?
It's the main girl. Daisy Ridley.
Oh, the main one, not the Rogue One. Ray.
Yes, this is the one where this girl's trying to just live a normal life, but not knowing that her dad she knows her dad is the infamous Marsh King who kept her mother captive in the wilderness for years. So that happens. Also coming out in theater, something called Glisten and the Merry Mission. It's a new animated feature. So I don't know if you're into that. I don't know anything about that. Coming to Apple TV, the movie Fingernails. Anna suspects the relationship with her longtime partner may not be what it seems. I would be scared. The Kill Room with Samuel L. Jackson and Uma Thurman.
Joe Manganiello.
Oh, Jack Manganiello post-divorce. Craziness ensues during a money laundering scheme gone wrong. Oh, okay. Coming out on video, demand, and digital. This looks like something you would watch. It's called Squealer, and it's just a poster of a pig. It says, inspired by real events. A terrifying thriller. A woman disappears in a small town. Police officer follows their clues to a remote pig farm. This already sounds like
Squeal like a pig.
So, based on a true story, we've got to watch that. It's about a serial killer. I got to watch it. Netflix, Nayad, a biopic, documentary biography about Diana Nayad. I think she swam the channel or something. I'm not doing good on this. Netflix, Sly. It's the documentary on Sylvester Stallone. Now that we got the one on Arnold Schwarzenegger, now we get Sylvester Stallone.
I know it's coming.
Video Demand and Digital Project Z. Students trying to take 3 out-of-work actors to an old motel to make zombie films. Something's going to go wrong.
I think I have that too.
The Hulu movie of the week. I'm excited.
That was already yet. I thought we missed it. Okay,
Hulu movie. Quiz Lady. It's Awkwafina.
Will Ferrell
and she's trying to get is it Sandra Oh on a game show? They work together trying to do that. I think that's it, y'all. There's so many movies coming out everywhere. Get out there, watch a movie. I want to see this horrible vampire movie.
Well, we got it to watch.
All right. Tell me about the contests.
Hold on, I can't.
I'm going to pull those up.
My computer's going stupid. All right. So we got some new stuff added finally. We still got the Meg 2. I keep saying the. Meg 2 The Trench, as well as Warhorse 1, copies of those to give away. We got 2 of the ones you just mentioned. We've got RideOn, which we talked about, the Jackie Chan movie, as well as Bloodthirst. You're all super excited to watch already.
I'm going to watch
which
it.
I think this poster's a little bit better than the one you were looking at.
Yeah, the one I saw was not good. This
one not great.
This makes it look better.
It makes it look a little bit better, but even though it's...
Because this Mandalore looks all rough and tumble, like...
Even though the top guy looks more like a drawing than anything. But either way.
That's okay. We're going to go with it.
And then we also have copies of Blue Beetle and digital copies of My Big Fat Greek Wedding 3. Not to be confused with My Big Fat Greek Wedding 3 Days in Malay.
Wow. Because, it's the same guy.
Right. I lied. We no longer have copies of 3 Days in Malay. I forgot that contest ended when I said it earlier.
It's now done. But now you can see Mr. Mandalorian.
But if you really want one, there might be an extra one somewhere. So shoot me an email and I can maybe come up with one for you.
There you go. All right. Make sure you check out our website, HollywoodMatrimony.com. Don't forget to click the contest button. That's where all the free stuff is. Please follow the instructions on the contest. Don't send us personal messages. Don't slide into the DM. Follow the instructions.
Did you just tell somebody to slide into your DM?
No, I'm saying don't. We want to thank you so much for watching this week. We will be back next week with more movies and nonsense. We will talk to you then. Have a great one. And be safe this Halloween.
Peace out, dogs. Have fun and doing your Halloween business. Just be safe. Be safe and be nice.
See you soon.